At the moment, the whole figure skating community is holding its breath, stuck in a limbo of pure adrenaline and nerve-wracking suspense. The largest stages in the sport are now eerily silent, the kind of oppressive silence that signals the imminence of a huge earthquake. The 2026 Winter Olympics in Milan will serve as the epicenter of this explosion, transforming the frozen surface into a full-scale battleground. The American prodigy Ilia Malinin, who has already won the world championship twice, is directly in the center of this storm. Anyone foolish enough to try to win a medal against him gets chills just by hearing his name. Even seasoned pros were stunned by what they discovered when the official rosters were released. Malin does more than just skate. He is putting technological firepower into a free program that essentially instructs gravity to go for a hike. He is pushing the boundaries of what the human body is capable of, transforming a sport into something that appears to be otherworldly. We are not only observing a routine. It is an aerial blockbuster that takes place in the Alps' thin, high-altitude air. There was a plan before the uprising. A gold blueprint was created in Team USA's Chile high-stakes strategy rooms. The goal was straightforward: efficiency over ego. Securing the title without running the risk of suffering a career-ending injury was the aim. The quad flip and the fabled quad axel were officially listed on his jump card. For 100 years, they called this move impossible. He then incorporates a quad loop and quad lutz, spinning enough times to induce vertigo in a mathematician. The child can execute punishing combos with laser-like precision, such as a quad loot triple flip and a quad toe triple toe. However, his parents, Roman and Tatiana, had advised Milan to hold back in order to put clean landings ahead of historic hazards. In the locker room, Roman had whispered to Ilia, "If you remain upright, you will receive the gold. The 7th quad is not necessary. We must have the champion." Tatiana gazed at him, the harsh fluorescent lights in the hallway reflected in her eyes. "Son, don't chase the wind. Take ownership of your ice." They were aware that Ilia's youthful shoulders were beginning to feel the crushing weight of those Olympic rings. His name was already being inscribed on the gold medal by pundits using a cautious interpretation of his technical score ceiling. Ilia Malinin, meanwhile, has never held conservative views. The furnace of the impossibly impossible is where his entire identity is created. When a strange paperwork error decimated his coaching staff just when he needed them most, the stress reached a breaking point. The strategic genius responsible for Malinin's ascent, Rafael Aratunin, was abruptly prevented from standing at the boards. The famed coach's badge was refused at the security gate due to a complete issue with the U.S. roster credentials. Like any other tourist, they offered him a regular seat, but Aratunin declined with unadulterated pride. He was unable to shout a last-minute solution or a consoling remark, so he had to observe a student from a distance. As the camera turned to Ilia, standing by herself in the warm-up area, the commentators murmured, "This is a disaster." Ilia Malinin found herself ensnared in a maelstrom of red tape and seclusion, facing an increasingly daunting job. As he stood in the tunnel, the roar of the 20,000 spectators was drowned out by the quiet of Artunian's absence. The arena suddenly felt cold to him. Ilia, however, never saw pursuing greatness as a lonesome journey on a frigid, unforgiving block of ice. A vast family tradition runs through his blood beneath the icy calculations of the score sheets and the wild spins. He is not only there to gain notoriety. The weighty aspirations of a decades-long heritage are carried on his skates. The ice rink was more than just a place of employment for the two Olympian parents who founded it. In essence, it served as both his haven and his nursery. The Malinin approach isn't about flowery praise. It was constructed before daybreak on icy, dark Virginia mornings. With military precision, the family would march to the rink when the roads were still asleep beneath the fog. It is kept in the heartless hands of his father, Roman, who is grinding blades at 3 a.m. under a flickering garage light. His son has the bite necessary to withstand the force of a quad revolution thanks to each deliberate pass on the steel. It blazes in his mother Tatiana's piercing eyes. Tatiana is a champion who has first-hand knowledge of the breathtaking vista. He learned from her that their ancestry doesn't add up. They merely record how many times you get back up and exert more effort. Something shifted in Ilia's eyes as the eerie cinematic score for his free program started to reverberate throughout the Milan arena. The script departs from the safe strategy at this point. At this point, the athlete starts to give way to the legend. As he gazed at the rafters, he was reminded of his sister Ellie's drawings and his late-night video sessions with his father. These small deeds of kindness provided him with the firm foundation he needed to break through the ice's lingering fears. Yuma Kageyama of Japan, one of his challengers, had just finished a performance so light it felt more like poetry than sports. It was not Kageyama who skated. He painted a masterpiece with seamless transitions that could be shown in a museum frame while floating. The safe strategy would only result in a tie at most because the Japanese star had raised the bar so high. Ilia was aware that the history books would require more than just safety. He made a snap decision and put the instructed plan in the garbage. That crazy quad Skalkow triple axel sequence, which was completed as if it were the simplest thing in the world, was the true showstopper. Then he did it, though. In the second half of the show, he included an unexpected quad Lutz triple loop combo. The audience let out a collective gasp. His mother Tatiana's breath caught in her throat as she grabbed her heart at the boards. His whirling was so intense that it seemed as though the ice may shatter from the force of his blades. His blades were directed by the ghosts of the past as he skated. Each turn was an homage to the perseverance of his family. The sheer chutzpah of a youngster who refused to be grounded created an electrifying atmosphere in the arena. The red tape, the paperwork, and the detractors who claimed he was mentally unstable were all given the finger with each jump. Throughout the stadium, poisonous rumors had begun to circulate, implying that a quad axel under such stress was unreal. But they were all hushed by Ilia. With the delicacy of a bird landing on a wire dead center on the edge, he landed the axle. He wasn't merely acting. Every hour of the bitterly cold Virginia winter and every lonesome training session, he was working out. He was repaying his parents for all of the pain, broken bones, and silent sacrifices they had done to create a champion from the ground up. During the conclusion, destiny knocked. A symphony of nerves and sharpened steel, bound together only by human willpower. The Milan arena erupted into complete turmoil as the United States won the championship and the score fell. After years of perseverance and heartbreak, Ilia Malinin's dam finally cracked, releasing a flood of emotions that had been suppressed. He ignored the flashing cameras and the eager reporters seeking the scoop of a lifetime while wearing the flag. He was not interested in the limelight. He desired the darkness where his loved ones waited for him. Finally releasing the pressure, the quad god pulled off the armor while still locked in a desperate, bone-crushing embrace. The superhuman athlete who defied gravity buried his face in his mother's consoling shoulder and sobbed like a baby. He mumbled into her coat, "I'm sorry. I was forced to do it. For us, I had to jump. I was unable to control myself." Neither the uprising nor the score mattered to Tatiana. She felt her son's heartbeat and continued to hold him closer. Roman was standing next to them, his son's shoulders supported by his hands, which were still smeared with oil from the blade grinder. Each steaming tear served as a reminder of the countless hours of frigid labor that went into enduring the harshest winters. Ilia performed the unimaginable in the midst of the chaos. He removed the bulky gold disc from around his neck. He thrust it into the hands of those who made him, and they shook. "We succeeded. I could never have made it this far by myself." Ilia was no longer the record-breaking giant of the ice in that brittle crystalline second. He was only a son. He was the most recent link in an Olympic chain that had been created through generations of blood, sweat, and silent aspirations. For the planet to realize that this gold was more than just metal, he needed it. The alchemy was the result of restless nights. The indestructible foundation of a family's unwavering love is behind the legendary conqueror of the impossibly difficult. One thing was demonstrated by Milan 2026. Documents accumulate dust, but a parent's belief fire never goes out. The quad god left the arena as the lights went down, not as a god, but as a young boy who had found his place. His coaches had disobeyed him. Gravity had been challenged by him. He had at last respected the blood that gave him wings by doing this. In Milan, a youngster named Ilia Malinin was taught how to touch the sun and fly in a cellar. His parents were never the target of the uprising. They had to demonstrate that their sacrifices were made for an eternity. The echoes of his blades lingered as he stepped off the ice, leaving an indelible mark on the ice of history that will never go away.